other for a good many years, and I've watched this young man grow in stature and in grace. So I give you Benjamin Nelson, Brother Benjamin.
Well, I would hope that I would have to stand here and holding village as such. But I want to thank God for giving me an opportunity to be here in your presence this morning. I want to give you thanks for giving me an opportunity to spend so many years working with the United Methodist Men throughout districts and conference, in the New York Annual Conference for a very long time. I really couldn't even count the amount of years. I want to thank the pastor for giving me such a warm welcome. And I also want to thank the few members that I sat in Sunday school with this morning, and we had a wonderful discussion that I truly, truly enjoyed immensely. Forgive me for stepping away from here because I am the type of person that can get very expressive at times. So I want to first of all say thank God for my wife and my daughter who gave me a gift a few years ago of God's creation, a smartphone. And I say this truly and honestly because without a smartphone, many of the places that I travel to, I would never get there if it hadn't been for Google Maps. And they gave me a phone where I could just turn it on and I can talk to the phone and say to the phone where I want to go. So this morning I woke up and I spoke to Ernie yesterday because the weather was so bad I didn't know when I was going to get here. And this morning I woke up and I spoke to my phone again and I just spoke to the phone. And everything started popping up on the phone. So I really had no excuses now. The arrow pointed to exactly where I had to go. So I thought, wow, this is really narrowing down my excuses. If I didn't have this phone, if I had to deal with the old time way that somebody just wrote it on paper, I would have had excuses that I got lost. But with this phone, it was difficult to do so. I don't want to spend too much time with you because I can really get along with it. And first I want to say I'm a country boy. I was born in South Carolina. My grandfather was a United Methodist man. My father was a United Methodist man. And about 40 years ago, 43 years ago, I ran away from the South. I ran away from the teaching of my grandfather and my father. I thought they were men that were so serious about their faith. And I was a teenage boy. I was embarrassed to see my father and my grandfather yelling and screaming and getting so passionate about worshiping God. I hid under the bench, hid under the table, got out of the door. And when I became about 18 years old, I bolted to New York. I see the picture of New York on the brochure of this beautiful city, beautiful light. That's where I wanted to be. I hitchhiked the ride to New York, Pastor. When I got to Richmond, the driver said, "You're not there yet." He said, "You just halfway." When I got to the George Washington Bridge, and I got over the George Washington Bridge, that hump, and I see New York City, I flipped out. And let me just say to you that New York almost killed me. I almost died. I ran the streets of New York and got sick, got pneumonia, spent about a month in the hospital. I was nearly dead. And the spirit of my father and my grandfather came to me and said, "You do what we told you, what we taught you, you'll live. But if you don't, And I spent 40 years at Kings County Hospital. And one day God visited me in a closet. He said, you have a job to do. You have to bring men back to the church. And I said, how am I going to do that? I'm in the streets. All I know is wayward men. He said, do you know my servant Moses? Moses spent 40 years out there. And so are you. Those men are the men that you need. What's a little shaky about that? But my transformed life is credited to those men. And when I look at the church today, percentage-wise, I have to give thanks to the women. Because if it hadn't been for the women, a lot of our churches would have locks on the doors. It will be closed because men have wandered away from the church. And I have to go back to the teaching of my grandfather and my father to find out what I had to do. So I found myself yelling, screaming, getting passionate too. I said, now I'm beginning to act like them. I'm beginning to act just like the thing that I ran away from. There's a lot to be said, but I want to say, in 1 week of being the president of the New York Annual Conference United Methodist Men, I'm looking for a few good men. And as I studied in the Bible, in the passages of Gideon, a few good men. A few good men that is ready to grab the horns of the altar. A few good men that is ready to go with me around this conference, around this state, around this country, and try to get men back to where we need to be. Because if we don't, we are going to continue losing our young boys. We're going to continue losing our boys to things that is in the dark country. We know what the matriarchs are. And thank you for the great matriarchs that we have. But we're the patriarchs. And if we continue to do the things that I've seen when I was in the dark country, we will begin to lose our boys. And once we lose our boys, our young ladies are following the boys as well. And we end up losing them too. And then what will happen to the church? As we talked about in Sunday school this morning, there was a young man. They were bringing him to the gates of the church and sitting there. But that's the front end he could go. He was crippled and he could not come any further than the gate. And I spoke to the bishop pastor earlier this week. He said, we have to find a reason why our people can only come to the gate, but they can't go in. And church folks is walking past him and going in. As United Methodist Men, as the president of the United Methodist Men, I am searching for the answer as to why we can only go to the gate. What is stopping us from going inside? We're just stopping at the gate. I am in search of the answer. And I'm happy to be here, Pastor, this morning because this is the first church that I began my mission, and I'm happy to be here. So the march continues. The march just began, and I have 450 churches. 450 churches. So a few good men, that is ready to go with me. And ladies, don't feel offended because I am calling the men to help you to go where we need to go. And I just experienced a young couple earlier. The much more to be said, but I can be long-winded and I don't want to hold you too long. But thank you very much for inviting me today.
Thank you very much. We hope you'll come back again and worship with us. And pray for that like this man